message.
Yeah. Right, we are live on YouTube.
Good evening, welcome to Environment Services Committee on the 17th of September 2025, and welcome to members and members of the public in the room, and also to anyone who's watching online. We will head straight into the agenda. So, apologies for absence. I believe have been received from Councillor Hayter, who's been substituted by Councillor Williams. Thank you very much for coming along this evening. Are there any other apologies that anyone's aware of?
Yeah, we have apologies from Councillor Joanna Dickinson, who's substituted by Councillor Nickinson, and apologies from Councillor Toft, who is substituted by Councillor Orr.
Thank you very much for coming along, plugging those gaps. Okay. No declarations of, oh sorry, skipped a bit there. We need to approve or decide if we approve those apologies and substitutions. Can I please have a show of hands? Oh, sorry. I have a proposer. I'll propose the apologies and substitutions, seconded by Councillor Orrell. All those in favour? No. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 3, declarations of interest. There's none pre-notified. Are there any declarations of interest at this point regarding items on the agenda? No, as always, if you think of any as we go through the meeting, please just raise a hand and make us aware. Minutes of the last meeting. So this was the meeting held on the 16th of July 2025. And we're being asked if we believe they are a true and accurate record. Are there any comments that anyone would like to make on those minutes? Wonderful. So members are asked to agree the minutes of the last meeting held on the 16th of July as a true and accurate record, and they will be signed as such. Wonderful. So I'm happy to propose that. Are you happy to second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? All those against? And any abstentions?
Sorry, I wasn't here, so I can't second.
Thank you. So moving swiftly on to item 5, councillor questions and statements. No councillor questions have been received ahead of the meeting as far as I'm aware. Is that still the case? Yeah. Are there any councillor questions at this point in time? No, in which case we shall move on to item 6, public questions. Again, I don't think any public questions have been received in advance. So we shall move on straight into item 7, which is the Tumbledown Working Group. This is jointly being presented. No? So Ben Heath is going to present this report for us. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to request the setting up of a councillor and officer working group to explore the future operational direction of the Tumbledown asset. Since Tumbledown got handed back to the Town Council in 2019, we've endeavoured to create a community facility that provides social value and works with some of the most vulnerable members of our community in a sustainable way. And certainly over the last 2 years, there's been multiple things that have developed on the site, which has really enhanced that work. Integrating Tumbledown into the wider council working has certainly come on over the last 2 years, and Tumbledown is one of our largest green spaces that the Town Council manage, and alongside all the other parks and open spaces, it should be seen as one of our green spaces gems. The new facilities on the site, so the woodworking facility that's been now there for a couple of years, has really flourished and is now kitted out with lots of tools and materials to enable lots of groups to do some fantastic work. The new Kestrel Barn was opened in April 25, which now boasts a great classroom / multi-purpose meeting room, 3 plumbed-in toilets, including a disability cubicle to enable access, 5-station teaching kitchen, which again allows different groups on site to actually process the produce and deliver lots of cooking in a sustainable way, as well as obviously the growing section that was there before. The new facilities have enabled working with a forest school company, which is now sort of established on the site and has run multiple sessions over Easter and summer and are booked up with October half-term courses as well as after school, and they're now looking for further sessions, so it's working well. Also, alongside that, we have Westfield School come regularly, what is now the Coastman College group coming. Individuals with learning disabilities come and use their own bursary, Lantern Trust, Mind and other organisations, all fully engaged in the site. Tumbledown only has 2 paid members of staff, 1 full-time and 1 that only works 2 days a week to work through all of those different avenues with the different clientele. And obviously a great group of regular volunteers that without the site wouldn't be manageable. So all of that success has got us to a point where I feel we're on a bit of a tipping point, and that's the hence wanting a working group to work with councillors and officers to enable Tumbledown to explore all the different directions we might go in and future developments, and allow us to make sure that we're agreed in the right direction and the right outcomes we're trying to achieve. So therefore, the officers would like to request up to 4, but 4 is not an absolute number. So if more councillors wanted to be involved, we can look at that. In terms of setting up that working group with the assistant town clerk, the communities manager, and the Tumbledown site manager to explore those different avenues, and then bring that report back to a future services meeting where we can discuss further, and obviously councillors can make that decision on that ultimate future direction. So the recommendation is that the committee to agree the setting up of a Tumbledown working group and to identify councillors that would like to be included in that group.
Thank you very much, Ben. So, obviously I was aware this was coming up on the agenda this afternoon or this evening. I think it's a really good idea. It's a major asset. It's something that we need to make sure is heading in the direction we want it to. So I'm certainly supportive of the working group being established and keeping on top of all things Tumbledown. It sets out in the report very well what's going on and the reason for the setting up of the working group. So I think I'm right in saying we need to vote on establishing one, and then look at membership afterwards.
We can take into account what we want to go.
Okay. Is there anyone that'd like to comment on this at this stage? Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, I'm fully in favour of a working group, and are we taking this all as one action? In that case, I'd like to put myself forward on behalf of the Conservative group.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for putting yourself forward. It's fantastic. I would like to do the same. I think from the environment services point of view, I think it'd be good to be on that one, so I'm keen. Is there anyone else who'd like to? Councillor Orrell, you want to add some words or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much support the idea of the review. We do need to take stock and see how we're going to move forward. It'd be good to see that if the kind of terms of reference and work could encompass the nursery, because that's one of the directions we may go. It's not to say we definitely will, but we need to have the permission to explore that as part of the working group. And yeah, again, I'd like to nominate myself and or Helen as deputy, or whether other people want to come, but certainly good to have a green rep.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hope.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I won't volunteer myself, but just ask a few questions if I can. So over the time of Tumbledown, there's been different sort of groups set up from the Police Council to look at direction, different plans. Is the purpose of this group to actually take all of those plans that are in existence and all those, we've got like, I think a governing document for Tumbledown, is it to review the whole set of that? I don't want to duplicate things that have already been done. So just that clarity would be quite useful.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is to look at everything, just because we've done a lot of things over the last 2 years. So it's to sort of take stock and review everything to make sure that what direction we go in is the right direction. And any of those avenues could be up for discussion and then obviously renewing that document as part of the report that comes.
So, the second point as well, I was picking up on Councillor Royal said around the nursery location. I think that needs to be within the scope of this working group. I believe council took a decision to make that relocation. It's not happened yet. We've had to extend the lease where we are now, I believe, which is costing this council every time we do that. So I think that should be in scope, because as well as saving this council money from a lease point of view, it could be another service that Tumbledown offer to users to go into those greenhouses and those nurseries and learn how you grow those items that are in there. So it could provide another activity and resource to Tumbledown.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can add some to that. So obviously I've been working on that nursery relocation as a separate project, but obviously it dovetails in with the whole Tumbledown running. Councillor Hope, 100% right. We've already got those things on the radar and we would 100% be integrated into Tumbledown as well as improving the nursery and its efficiencies if it can be made on that side.
Very much, Councillor Weller.
Thank you. Just to endorse the thoughts on the nursery at Tumbledown, it was one of the original thoughts and it should be progressed if it's viable to do so. I would like to nominate Councillor Atkinson for this group, and I would be happy to substitute for him anytime he's unable to.
Thank you very much. Good to have cross-party support for this and get everyone's ideas on the table. Councillor Harris has also put himself forward. I believe that puts us up to 5, is that correct? I presume 5 is workable from the officer's point of view.
100%.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So seems to be a mood in the room that we're moving forward with this one. So do you propose already?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to second that. So this is the establishment of a Tumbledown working group. We've identified 5 councillors. Any last minute comments before we move to a vote? Wonderful. In which case, all those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. So that's passed. On to item 8, which is the Overcombe toilet work options. And I believe this is going to be Ben again. Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to present members with the options for progressing the Overcombe toilet refurbishments following the receipts of quotes which have come in lower than anticipated. There are several options on how the additional funds could be used, which councillors are asked to discuss and agree on. The works at Overcombe are required as the block is starting to fail. This has led us to change the toilet refurbishment plan and bring Overcombe forward ahead of Maiden Street, which would have been the next facility to have been on the list. Maiden Street will be on the next on the list as required, but it will need over £100,000 to refurbish. Back in June 25, members allocated £70,000 towards the Overcombe toilet works from the unallocated earmark reserves. Officers have obtained quotes for the emergency works at approximately £41,000. The supplier has provided 2 levels of quotation, both the emergency works, but also a medium specification of works, which can obviously be additional to those emergency works as the options will set out in a second. The emergency works include all the upgrades to the essential infrastructure, whereas the additional works will enhance the block and would significantly improve the presentation, the durability and the user experience of the facility. Options for consideration are option 1, the emergency works only, circa 45,000, no additional funding required. Option 2, emergency works, replacement doors plus medium level refurbishment, 74,000. No additional funding is needed, an extra 4,000 could be met from within the existing budget. Option 3, emergency works plus replacement doors, circa 49,000, no additional funding required. Option 4, emergency works plus card payment operated doors, circa 76,000, an additional £2,000 of funding would be required. Or option 5, a full medium level refurbishment with card payment operated doors, circa 105,000, in which case a £31,000 additional funding would need to be required. All options can be completed by or before the 30th March 26, so before the seasons start kicking in and more visitors start arriving. Any additional funding for any of the options would be allocated from the contingency money that was held back to support projects should that support be required. Therefore, the recommendation or officer recommendation is that the committee agrees on option 2 is the most balanced and cost-effective approach. It ensures all the urgent works are carried out, provides like-for-like replacement of doors to enhance the durability and presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you for presenting the report and also to Will Holmes as well for his work on this. Thank you for giving the range of options as well, because that's obviously a great point to start any debate from. Councillor Hope.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I think first of all, it's great that the officers have managed to get this in under the allocated budget. It's always a concern when we've publicly announced budgets that the contractors know that's what we're willing to spend. So I think straight away that's great news. My question is, out of your levels of standards, you put medium, low, what standard would you have set, say, that Coast Street toilets are? Because I think realistically, that's the standard of refurbishment that this council wants within its amenities and public toilets. So I'm wondering, you know, what would you class Coast Street as? Because it will help me sort of make a decision.
I think the Cove Street level of tiling and the type of finish is slightly higher than what this medium level would be. But this medium level is making the tiles and surfaces and everything back to a very good standard. And it will certainly be an improvement on what is currently there.
Okay, and if we were to go just at the moment for the essential works, and then in a later programme of things, when it comes back onto the programme where it should have been, the full refurbishment happens, and we probably put car payment doors in place then, we wouldn't be wasting money because all of this 45, they wouldn't start ripping that out and replacing it, where I'm getting to.
Yeah, no, so the emergency works are there because they're the things that have to be done to make the toilet function properly, or the block function properly. The medium level works, there's obviously because they're there doing the works, the medium level improvement could be made at a sort of cost saving because they're there doing work. So you have a cost saving because that works and the kit and everything is there. Whereas obviously that might cost slightly more in the future because they've got to come back twice, they've got to set it up again. So that's why officers feel that option 2 is a better place, because we get the emergency, we've got the allocated monies that will improve the block, and all that kit and workmen are there on site to be able to make that work better for us at a cost effective way of doing it.
Very much. Councillor O'Leary.
Yes, I'd like to propose option 2. It's not my town council board, but this is in my county division. There's a beautiful mural on the building that's been done in recent years. I know there's been some work done on the doors in the past, but it sort of needs a bit further than that. I've expressed opposition to card payment systems for toilets in the past. Sometimes I'm not going to debate tonight, and I am a bit iffy about that, particularly in this block, because I would say this block tends to be used more by locals as opposed to tourists. This side of town is far less tourist oriented and more day trippers from Weymouth going to that neck of the woods, as well as residents. Especially in Preston, where there is an older demographic. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. Preston does have one of the oldest populations in Weymouth. Card payment system would, in my mind, be a bit trickier than it would be perhaps in some other areas due to usage of cards. So therefore, I think option 2 is the soundest option to get to the emergency works done, which have to be done, and also to spruce it up. So therefore, I'd like to propose that.
Very much. Sure.
Second option 2, much the same reasons. It had a lot of flack from residents about them charging. Felt they paid their council tax and that they were having a service withdrawn from them. So it'd be good if we can make this one free to our residents.
Okay. So Taylor.
I'm going to come in and suggest option 3, because if we do have to do all of this work, we might just as well tidy it up, some new doors on it for an extra 5,000 while there's people there. I just think that would match what we're doing there, rather than basically just doing it up inside. Just for an extra 5,000, I think that would be worth it, so that the doors match the upgrades.
So
I would. Yeah, option 3.
through.
I'm looking at it.
I think
So,
No.
oh,
option 2 includes the doors as
oh,
well.
sorry.
So
Let's try that.
option 2, that's all right. Option 2 is the emergency works. with the doors, is this
Sorry.
correct?
That's right,
I
yeah.
apologise.
Pull
I'm
up the
talking
meeting
rubbish.
level.
I was getting worried now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking rubbish, just forget it.
So just for clarity, just to present, where are you with option two?
I'm with option two.
With option two, then. Outside,
Chair, talking now to the substantive that's being proposed, which is option two, I would have to disagree with that. I think we have set a level of refurbishment that we as a council are happy with, are proud of being Coast Street. Regardless of the charging or not, something different, I still think that we have set that level and expectation of refurbishment of toilets. So I think looking back to why this request was made and the funding was released, it was for the emergency works to keep the toilets open. If we cannot stretch to the extra to bring it to the gold standard or the high standard that Cove Street is, I believe we should only do the emergency works, saving ourselves £30,000 that can be used to deliver community projects that's on our list of aspirations. You have to recall back when we released the funding for this, we looked at a whole list of projects, skate park in Littlemore, flood defences in Radipole, park improvements, real things that all of our communities want out in the open. So I say we don't need to spend as much, let's save the 30,000 and invest it in our communities in other ways.
a range of views. Would anyone else like to speak to this item? Councillor Leary.
Just coming back, there was an option for a high level refurbishment without card payment. I back it, but I'm going to vote on option two, because what's on the paper.
A bit like tennis here. Councillor Hope, go on, in the absence, anyone else want to
I'd
speak?
just like to point out in procedure requirements, if I may, Chair, that these are officer recommendations. It's up to the council, being us, to make any recommendations, Councillor O'Leary, so we could make that proposal this evening.
Councillor Weller.
I was going to say much the same thing. I'd really quite like to. I do agree that now we've set that standard with our Cove Street. It seems quite a shame to say, well, we'll have this standard here, but we'll only have that standard there. We should be consistent across the board now. That's the standard that we want to create. I think the card payment or not is a completely different debate on this. It is, you know, we want the best standard we can, and I think it's a false economy when we do emergency works when we know that works need doing. So I'm not really in favour of coming back and forwards and saying, you know, let's have another report. But if I could, I think I would like us to be going for the better standard.
Hey,
No,
sorry.
it really was a point on the card access. As an older person, I don't like cards and I would never carry one going to the beach anyway. So I wouldn't be able to use the toilet if I was going there, and I am local to the area. I would never take my credit card with me on the beach, but then I wouldn't take my phone with me on the beach either. I go down there. So people of my age, in their late 70s, are going to find the local residents will come up against a card reading machine. We are very reluctant to change our habits. You don't mind losing a fiver, but your credit cards and your phone are a no-no at our age.
I was about to ask some questions of Ben. So obviously the emergency works sound fairly, you know, they need to be done quite promptly. If we were to sort of defer this, look at other options, what timeframes have to be turned around in before those the lack of emergency works in the meantime becomes problematic? Okay.
I believe that the works would be done over the winter period so that they're ready and operational, say circa Easter onwards, so that as like I say, more people are like coming to end, they're operational and looking as good as they need to. So Yeah, there's obviously a little bit of scope to bring other information back, but we haven't got lots of scope to obviously make sure we get the work done.
Depending on that, it's okay, is, I'm aware there's currently one cubicle completely out of use.
Yeah.
So again, there's six, I want to say six or six cubicles there. So there's one already out of use, so again, the longer we leave it, it may be that we have to close more.
Councillor Taylor, I think.
Can I just make a suggestion on this? I've got a feeling this may well have to go back to F&G, the additional funding that we're asking for. So could we send it to F&G with a recommendation that we want option 5, but without card payment? And then it will save it having to come back to us.
Option 5 is still a low standard then.
Yeah, option 5's medium level.
Still not close.
I've lost the plot.
That's still not closed street level. I presume we'd be calling that.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah, that would be the same level of tiling
So-
spec.
As I understand it, if we wanted to look at that high level, to like go back through the quote system.
It would, yeah, so the whole procurement exercise we've done, so in terms of, if you wanted to try and achieve that, we would have to do the emergency works, then do all that procurement, because you wouldn't get all of that to happen before circa Easter, April sort of time, to have it open ready for that.
Sorry, I'm perhaps being very naive, but if whichever company you've chosen has done these quotes, they must have detailed paperwork on everything. They must know all the costs. Why is it going to take so long for them? They could just say, right, well, we could just, that was going to cost X. Let's add that onto that, and that's it. Surely we could have that.
So if our procurement would allow us to do that, so because obviously it's a different specification we put out, so that would enable disenable others to quote against that specification, because obviously we've tendered for this set of parameters, so we've got quotes in. So if our procurement will allow us to do that, which I'm not sure it would, we couldn't just go to them and say, oh, we'll just bump it up a few levels.
So is
and
it
give us
different
some
companies that you're choosing for different options then?
No, but what we do is we put a specification together with a level of materials and other things, and then so basically, so everyone's quoted like for like. They would send that in, so we need a minimum of 3 of those. They send all that information in, we assess it, and then we obviously choose the best value for money or the best outcome for the council. So if we change the specification without going back out to tender, then others might say, well, actually, I've got a supplier that we could get that cheaper than them, but you didn't give us a chance because you've just gone with those and changed the specification, which from a procurement point, you're not allowed to do, because you've tendered on one thing, then changed the specification, and only one person's been allowed to give that quote then.
So hopefully that explainer helps, and that's why it would maybe seem a bit longer than you might expect to
I couldn't
get a quote
work
for your
it out.
house or whatever. Councillor Weller.
Well, it seems to me that it's not too difficult for us to change our spec. We know we want to upgrade it, okay? We've got the list of people that we invited to tender last time. We work back from when we want to be open.
Mhm.
And we say, if you're interested, we need your tender in by, and we make that date dependent on that. Frankly, if local businesses don't want to get, don't want to pull their finger out and get their quote in, then they're not in the running. And if they are interested in doing the work for the local council and the reputational gain that they can get from that, they're not interested in that, then fine, they're too busy to do so possibly. But if they want to do the work, they'll get the quote in, because it's one chap sitting in front of his computer at the end of the day, checking how much things are going to cost. And, times is hard. If you want the job, you get the quote in.
Just for clarity, is that workable?
We can put that out there. I can't guarantee we'll get the same people quote, and obviously workloads and other things that where they've got opportunities to do that, but we can certainly, if that's what councillors want us to do, we can certainly do that. That might mean the costs go up because it is a different supplier that obviously then puts in the tenders. But if that's what councillors want us to do to achieve a higher specification in the same time frame, then we can obviously do that. But obviously the costs will go up from those medium level costs to a higher specification.
Okay, so I'm keen to move this to a vote fairly soon, we've got a proposal in the sector. Your councillor Hope, and I think you indicated.
I am good person.
Yep.
So I've just got two further questions. Number one, we've got an asset management plan, had planned refurbishment on the timetable. I think we've already realised that Coast Street was due to be next, but because of the works here, it makes an ideal opportunity to pull this forward because of the work that's going to be done and the savings in the long run. I'm just wondering, is there any budget allocated to that asset management plan that would have been used anyway to do Coast Street? And if whether or not that can make the difference up, so this hasn't got to go to F&G because we're still working within the parameters of agreed budgets.
No, so I think you've been made, was on that Coast Street's been completed, so Maiden Street.
Yes,
And where we're, that's fine, as we were looking at project priorities in June, the refurbishment of toilets was on there, and there isn't any further funding at the moment for the refurbishment. Yes.
and this committee, as part of its recommendation, then make a note to F&G that we need to be budgeting for that asset management plan and the agreed programme of works that are in it. Because if not, it makes it another document this council's created and sits on the shelf and does nothing.
Councillor Lear is next, and then councillor Atkinson, and then.
Yeah,
Keen
so,
to vote.
yeah, we have some on the table there. I'm happy, you know, more than happy if we go away and try and find a higher level of refurbishment, but without car payment, etc. What does concern me is the time frame on it, because we just had, we had a unit out on Ironman, which for Preston is a really busy, Oldcombe is a really busy day. And these weren't up to their standards, which would have impacted visitor, opinion of us. We've got bonfire night coming up, we've got motocross where a lot of people will park at Preston or come from Preston and walk to and from and use those facilities. So I don't want another season where these are going to deteriorate. It's open to the weather up that neck of the woods and is only going to get more affected over the winter period. So therefore, I'm happy, and I want to seek some guidance. If we want to go and look for a higher standard, are we going to then push for a deferral on this paper to the next F&G? That we can get a higher quote in, but then what concern me, it will surely would have to be the next F&G in order to get it ready in time for
Community
ENS, not F&G, ENS, the next ENS, in order for it to be done before the summer. I think it's November the 20.
The next ENS is the 29th of October, and then the next following that F&G is on the 5th of November, so we could potentially.
Can I ask a question what do you reckon the chances are of getting a quote for a higher rating before that?
Well, we can try. That's all I can say is that obviously it's the suppliers that have got to give us back. We can obviously send them information and chase them. And we can attempt to do that to give you an understanding of what medium level got in this paper and then what the jump is to higher level and what that gap is in funding that would need to come, as we said in the paper, from that pot that's currently sort of sat unallocated.
Sorry,
Can I then withdraw my proposal and then propose a deferment on this paper then? That permitted? Yeah, pending my seconders.
Seconder, are you happy, councillor Oral, to?
Yeah, I'll withdraw it. I don't think we should, personally, we should crack on with and get something done within the agreed time frame. But if the mood of everyone else is to defer it, then I will.
I just want to add, we've got what the options here. What my opinion would be is if we didn't have the higher quote in by the next meeting, then I'll go for the other option.
I think I'm personally in agreement with that.
Yeah.
We're putting quite a lot of pressure on our officers here.
Yeah.
To meet schedules, so I think we need to have that as the fallback. Councillor Atkins.
Yeah, I think I still listen to the arguments. I still support option 2, I think. And the reason is I feel that local people will be well satisfied with that level of provision. And I think in my mind, I'd see a distinction between the tourist offer that we're trying to offer in other parts of the town, the other toilets, and this more local one. So I can't see that local people are going to complain about option 2, I think we need to leave.
I'm going to come in at this point. I view myself as a councillor if my residents first and tourists. They're further down my pile, they're part of Weymouth, they're absolutely integral to our economy and all those things, but personally, you know, I go down to that end of the beach quite often and use the various facilities. It's our residents that pay into the pot, and I think we should look to treat them evenly with the tourists, if not promote the standards of our facilities for residents possibly above that point. So we've had quite a, we've been around every sort of which way through this item. We've heard from Ben that there may be that option of getting a quote at that higher standard we've set at the Coast Street toilets, and looking ahead, wanting to achieve that for our residents as well as our visitors. So at this point, we need a form of words, I would say. And Councillor O'Leary, I know you were keen to propose, so let's see what you've got.
Yeah, I'm going to propose a deferment on this paper, pending a further quote with a specification for a higher level of refurbishment for the meeting that will take place on the 29th of October 2021.
So I'm very happy to second for that. Councillor Weller.
Following on from what Councillor O'Leary said a couple of minutes ago, could we have, because I'd like to go for that, and I'm reasonably confident that we can get quotes in. But we do need to get this work done. It would be quite nice to have option 2 still on the table in case we are stuck. I don't know how you feel about that.
My understanding, we would have basically the same paper, just with an option 6. It would be basically option 2, but instead of plus medium level, plus higher level, and obviously with a different price tag.
So I can see where Councillor Hope's going with this. Go,
And
Councillor.
option 7, which is the higher standard and payment.
I'm happy to have that fight on that night. Write my leaflet for me.
So, my only question, do we need anything? I don't think we would at this stage, but just for certainty, would we need anything on there about going to F&G following that, or would that come on
No,
that
that
line?
came on that
Yeah.
paper like we see.
Yeah, fair enough.
Can
Councillor
I
Hope?
ask you and the proposal that you made, I've sent my comments back to
Yeah.
F and G, because we shouldn't be delaying through this process. The officers were doing the work and contractors, this should be budgeted, and the officers should just be given the green light to go forward with this. We have a standard we expect, I don't know whether a formal policy was ever come out of the toilet working group, that was an exciting one, I never didn't sit on it, but I was told. But you know, we have a policy and a standard of what we want to deliver. And our plea must go to F&G that during the budget setting, that they budget for the delivery of that plan against the asset management or maintenance plan, and can't remember what the document was called.
So rather than if we get a recommendation, I'm happy to take it as an action, so it'll be included at the bottom of the minutes and any future agendas. I'm happy to take that away and discuss that with yourself and the council.
I would like it in the recommendation because I feel that strongly about it.
Is the elected member wishes that, and then that's what he wishes as a member, then that's fine.
If you're happy to include it, if not, I'll run it as an amendment.
Yeah.
Do you have a formal words you'd like to?
This committee also requests that the budget working group under the finance and governance review the schedule of planned refurbishment of toilets and budget to them accordingly to allow officers to do this work.
Is that okay? Is that dictating to F&G as well? I mean,
Is it, I'm not sure.
the way it's worded.
No, it's requests. It's a request.
It's requested the F&G budget working group review the schedule of plans for the refurbishment of toilets to ensure that there is sufficient budget.
At the end of the day, work's being done on this, you guys should just be able to correct one from business as usual.
So councillor Weller.
I think I'm getting a bit pedantic now, but in order to preempt this sort of discussion on other matters, could we make it less specific than talking about toilets? So that if this same thing were to come up, I'm trying to think what, but play park or whatever it is. So that we've got that proviso there going forward for the future.
Schedule of,
Assets. Rather than saying
Yeah.
toilets, if we said assets,
So if it's
then it
councillor
comes, whatever comes along, doesn't
The
it?
refurbishment and management of assets and
Yeah, does that,
I'm happy. Excellent.
I'll refer that to councillor O'Leary.
I'm happy. Can I just have one thing just to the point of back to through option 6, higher standard minus car payment system, there's an alter, and then like I said, obviously option 7 plus car payment. So that would differentiate the two.
I'm still very happy.
That debate.
Are you still happy to be a proposer?
Yes,
I'm happy to carry on seconding. Okay, I think we're at a stage where we can go to the vote. So all those in favour? All those against? And any abstentions? Shouldn't be. Okay, that recommendation is carried then. Been talking so long, the computer's blacked out. Right, let me get back in. Right. Thank you very much, members. Good, well-rounded discussion. And nice to reach agreement at the end of it. So we are now on to item 9, which was the information items. I just wanted to say thank you to the authors of the agenda because I found the way this was laid out an improvement and very clear. And I hope members have read through that. And a reminder, you can email officers with questions about these sorts of things as and when you receive the information. So thank you very much for that. So members are asked to note the information items. And that brings us to the end of our meeting, members and officers. Thank you for your time. And we'll end it there at 19:42. Thank you.
So.
Oh, I see.